Today's video is brought to you in part by CORSAIR. If you are looking for a nice set of wireless gaming headphones that will not break your piggy bank and still have a lot of nice features, the CORSAIR HF70s may be just what you were looking for. With features like true 2.4 GHz connectivity, a removable mic, easy to adjust controls, and solid sound, these headphones are perfect for their price range. The HS70 headphones work with your PC, Xbox, or PlayStation 4 and come to market at under $100. Check them out and see what you think. Okay, I know that most of my audience are definitely PC fans, but there's some crazy stuff going on right now over on the Apple side of things. I just thought I would bring to the table and share with you guys. Now, you guys all know that Apple definitely in the last few years seems to have stagnated from the powerhouse they once were. And now Apple has this brand new i9 laptop. It's a brand new MacBook Pro, things like $3,000. And the big rumors and the thing that's all surrounding and bringing a bunch of hype is that people are saying that due to the design of this new laptop and the way the processor throttles, because let's just face it, the laptop is very, very thin, and we'll get to that in a minute, it's going to throttle a little bit. But the big controversy is that everybody's saying that this new laptop, even though it's at a supreme price and cost all this money, it's performing a lot worse than the previous generation i7 version of the laptop. Now, Jonathan at TLD actually has run a bunch of tests, and through real-world applications, that sounded kind of funny, he's proven that this is actually not true whatsoever. So we'll have a link down below to his channel where you guys can check that out, where he runs all his tests and everything, and I think he's actually going to have a follow-up video to that as well. He shows that, honestly, that's not really true whatsoever. But for me, being a PC guy, it's obvious though, if you build a laptop and you're using the latest Intel processors, and we all know that Intel's had problems with heat and all this other stuff lately, you know, the laptop should have better cooling solution inside of it. I mean, these laptops come to market, they basically, I think they have like a 500 gigabyte SSD, 16 gigabytes of RAM, you know, and then they have the latest i9 processor, which is a 6-core, 12-thread processor. If you're going to build something like this with such a powerhouse of a CPU, I don't really think that making it so thin and so light is really the best design anywhere. And this is where I think Apple really screwed up in this particular product, is that the cooling solution is honestly, it's a fail. Jonathan does show in the videos that the CPU is not running as well as it should due to the throttling. Now, obviously it's not being faster, obviously it's not being slower than the previous generation, but it is not living up to its full capacity of a CPU whatsoever. Because if the CPU starts to throttle from the heat, that's going to be less performance. Now, most people always know, and the biggest complaint for me, especially from the PC guy side of things, is that, these MacBook Pros cost way too much. I mean, let's just face it. If you were to spend over $3,000 and get yourself a gaming laptop on the PC side of things, man, you're talking about a 17-inch screen, G-Sync, probably 64 gigabytes of RAM, 1080. We're talking about fully decked out computer on the PC side of things for that side of money. But on the Mac side of things, charging $3,000 honestly for a laptop that throttles is complete total bullcrap. I think that everybody should honestly probably veto this product and tell Mac to go jump on the bandwagon of going backwards, because that's where it seems they're going. Even though this thing does have all the latest, greatest features, it's slightly upgradable, the very fact that the CPU's throttling and getting hot just makes it a complete drawback. Now, you could possibly, get an external laptop cooler. Those things that flip up and they have fans on it, and that might help a little bit, but that really doesn't help when you're traveling around. And most of the guys who use the MacBooks and stuff like that, they're guys who travel around all over the place and they want a light laptop that has a lot of power in it, And in the past, Apple has successfully sold this product to, billions of probably people, millions of people around the world, and made a crap ton of cash doing it. But at this point, for them to release a laptop which CPU gets hot and throttles and actually cuts away from the performance, that's kind of really, to my eyes, kind of a shady thing. That's like kind of selling me a car that if I go a certain speed limit, my engine gets hot and then the engine just goes back. Now, sure, maybe it's faster than the previous V6 I was running, but still, if I'm going to be buying something that's new, I want it to be able to perform at its absolute best capabilities. Are you with me with this? Because I think that you are. You know, if you go out and you spend especially $3,000 on a laptop, there should be no performance issues whatsoever. And having a CPU that's overheating and throttling, to me, that's a complete, utter red flag. I would never purchase one of these new laptops. And honestly, I think anybody out there who's actually buying these things is probably, after they get them and use them, probably starting to think about it and getting a little pissy as well, because even though it does perform better than the previous i7 generation, the i7 generation didn't throttle as bad. And you can probably get that particular version for a lot less money now that this new one has come out. Now, the only thing that I can honestly say about Mac products that I can say is a cool thing is that usually when you have Mac products and you go to sell them, you do get a good value on your dollar. Most PCs that they're used, you see the monetary value of the product actually go down. It really never goes up. With Mac products, it's kind of like buying a Harley or buying a Gibson. Because it has that name, it does have a better resale value than PC stuff. And I know that's the way Jonathan looks at things. He gets these products, he reviews them. If they're not really good, hey, he just sells them, trades them off, or gets something, newer, better, or just different to suit his needs. So at the end of the day, I think Apple needs to really refocus what they're doing. It just seems like right now the company doesn't really know what's going on with itself. For one thing, the person who's running the company right now is not really a guy who's an idea man. He's a guy who's great at running a company, making sure things get taken care of, but he's no Steve Jobs. And I'm not trying to insult the guy or anything, but his thinking and basically thinking outside of the bubble or thinking of new things to do is just not the same as the company was before. And since they always relied on pretty much having something innovative that their users really liked, making products that are starting to go backwards and not do as well is really a bad thing for Apple. And selling a laptop and knowing right off the bat that the CPU is going to throttle and not give you the absolute best performance, shame on you, Apple. Now, I know most of my users will be like, yeah, screw those guys, but if you're an Apple guy, let me know what you think. But personally, I think that buying a laptop for $3,000 should have absolutely no issues whatsoever. Apple needs to get a really swift kick in the butt and make them wake up and redesign and make different products. There should be no reason for your CPU to be getting hot and to be throttling in a $3,000 product. Peace.